What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the NFC North Roundtable. NFL Week 7 preview is underway, and I know a lot of people have been waiting on this because we have some huge games this weekend. Nick and the Chicago Bears are on a bye, so we don't need to cover them. They will be paying the Washington Commanders on the road when they come off of the bye a week from now, but we'll discuss that next week. But we have a lot more pressing news at hand when you have the Green Bay Packers playing the Houston Texans and a division rivals, Minnesota Vikings versus the Detroit Lions. It's all going to be a good one right here on the NFC North Roundtable, right when we come back from a word from our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, this stream is being powered by BetUS. Receive a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit using code YouTube150 up to $2,000. It'll also give you a 125% sign-up bonus on your second and third deposit if necessary. All right? Make sure that you gamble responsibly. If you have any problems with gambling and addiction or anything like that, there are resources on the site that can help you out. Okay? If you're looking for a new sports book, BetUS is where to be. The odds for this week are up and ready for everyone to view. Get in on the action right now, okay? As you can see, the NFL odds are up. We have the Green Bay Packers who will be playing the Houston Texans at 1 p.m. That game is loaded as well. We're pulling them up for you. All the games actually will be pulling up for you. Let's dive into it. Sorry, I thought I had it up for you all.
I think the Packers are favorited, which is
let's see,
which is wild. I mean,
you think so?
I don't know. I don't think it's wild.
3-point favorites.
Well, that's just home field advantage, so I guess that makes sense.
So it's kind of like, conventionally even, but you got 3 points in this game, which is interesting. Houston coming off of an impressive win themselves, so that should be a really good one. But the game of the week, Minnesota Vikings, Detroit Lions. Is Minnesota home on it? Yeah, aren't they?
Yep.
So they kind of like the Vikings for them to only be +1 and for Detroit to be +1 and the Vikings to be -1. Woo! But you know what I'm looking at this game? That over-under. Oh, that's going to be over all day. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Can Jared Goff, handle the defense? Can, vice versa, Sam Darnold handle the Detroit defense? We shall see. But BetUS has your odds. Whatever you think, ladies and gentlemen, go onto the site, put in your wagers now, and take advantage of that sign-up bonus. Let's get right into it. We're going to start off with the Green Bay Packers versus the Houston Texans. Man, we'll start off with Nick, who's on a bye right now. Talk to us. What do you have in this Green Bay Packers-Texans game and your score prediction?
Man, TD, the Packers this is gonna be a matchup for them. Like, Houston's hot right now. They're 5-1. They're looking good. The offense is clicking. The defense looks phenomenal. Will Anderson Jr. just coming off Defensive Player of the Week. Packers are gonna have their work cut out for them. I'm not saying that Houston's got a cakewalk either. I mean, Jordan Love's obviously starting to look like himself again. Packers defense is starting to look really good. In Baz, they're in Houston for this one, right?
No, they're in Green Bay.
Oh, they're in Green Bay. So that's going to be okay. So that just changed a little bit my thought perspective. In Green Bay, I don't know what the weather is like. I should have looked it up before, but playing in Green Bay is no joke. But Houston's hot. I think it's going to be a super good game, and the fact that it's a noon game is even better or noon Central Time game, because you get to start your day off with a super exciting matchup. But in my opinion, I got the Texans in this one, TD. They are just dominant right now. 5-1, one of the best teams in the league. I think that defensive line is going to just cause a lot of havoc, and I got the Houston Texans winning this one. It's going to be close, though. Even though the Packers have a new kicker, I think it's still going to come down to a field goal. I think it's going to be 27-24 Houston.
27-24 Houston. Green Bay goes down. Dion, what do you have on this one?
Man, I'm pumped for this one. This is tough. This is difficult, man, because I like Houston. I liked them going into the season, but they got some key injuries. I mean, we know Nico Collins, but not having Laramie Tunsil, which it sounds like he's not going to play, could be massive. It feels like in this one, because one of my biggest criticisms has been the Packers' inability to create pressure. And I think Bass brought up the stat last week about 4-man rush versus 5-man rush. And this feels like one of those games where if you constantly have to bring 5 against Stroud, you could get into trouble really fast, even with some limited weapons, because they're still well-rounded in that sense. But without having your left tackle and Blake Fisher stepping in, who played kind of awful last week, I think that's going to be a big problem. And I also look at this team and say some similarities, to Arizona in the sense that I think Green Bay's going to be able to run the ball. They should be able to run the ball in this game. They should be able to live underneath in this game. I don't think Houston, I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think Houston's the best team to beat Green Bay, and I think, as Nick said, being at home is massive. I think Green Bay wins this football game. I know, it's crazy. I'm taking Green Bay. I got the Packers to win this one. I think it does. I think it will be close. I think it has to be. I'll go similar to Nick on this one. I'm going to go 27-23. I'll take the Packers.
27-23 Packers. Okay, on one bar, we split down the middle. What do you got on this one?
Well, I mean, first off, let's not put too much in the Lambeau. Vikings already went there and did some work there, so you can't put too much into that. And then speaking of the Texans, 5-1, that one is against the Vikings where they just mopped the floor with them 34-7. So, the Texans aren't all what they're cracked up to be, but they're Texans are a damn good team. This is going to be aside from the Vikings-Lions game, this is the game of the week in my mind, because in our lives I keep preaching like the Packers, I'm just not there with them yet as far as I believe in them. If they go out there and do their work against the Texans and come out with a dub, I don't care if it's at home, I don't care if they're playing in their backyard. If you beat the Texans, it's time for me to finally admit all right, the Packers are definitely a player when it comes to the NFC, not just the NFC North. So I'm really looking forward to it. Dion said it best. They got to get the running game going. They should get the running game going. If Love has time in the pocket, he's going to do his thing. The thing with the Texans are they shut down the big play, and the Packers, what do? They have the big play. So I look forward to seeing how that pans out as well. I got it close. I got the Texans 24-23, but this thing could go either way. It could go either way. And when it's a coin flip, I'm going with the opposite team of the NFC North. So.
Interesting. And Bass, by the way, it's 74 degrees, mostly sunny. And warm. It's a beautiful day. The only issue is 21 wind gusts is 21 miles an hour. What do you got on it, though, Bass?
Thank God we got a new kicker, because that would have been rough to watch. Well, they're wearing their winter whiteouts.
Oh, Waning Gibbous, by the way. Waning Gibbous.
Yes, I saw that. The Lions issue was waxing. I looked it up on Wednesday on our live show when I was looking at my phone, and I was going to choose the Vikings if that was the case, but just a little spoiler there for the upcoming prediction there. For the Packers, they're wearing their winter whiteout jerseys in a 1:00 game in October, 74 degrees. I'm like, I don't know why you didn't make that like a Sunday night game in December or something with those jerseys. I don't know, whatever. This is an interesting one. It should be prime time. I'm sure Vikings Lions fans are like, no, our game should be prime time. Regardless, both of these games should not be at 1:00. Let's be completely honest. The Packers need to keep doing what they're doing. What they did against the Arizona Cardinals, I'm not trying to compare Arizona to Houston because Houston's a much better football team. But Lombard, when you said, the Vikings mopped the floor with the Houston Texans, you made me think of an interesting point there. I saw a lot of Brian Flores type schemes in the Packers last week with Jeff Hafley. I mean, he's got Xavier McKinney all around the field pre-snap. Evan Williams doing his thing. He's running cover 1, cover 0 on third down. So I think maybe they're taking a look at that game and deciding what they want to do on defense. And I think they do have the talent to kind of run the Brian Flores scheme. And I think if they can succeed in that, I think they do match up well against the Houston Texans. But you got to contain Stroud like they did Kyler Murray. You don't want him escaping the pocket, extending plays. They're a lot better of a running team than the Cardinals, in my opinion. We just saw Joe Mixon return, have a good game. Dameon Pierce maybe returning to his former self. They have two very solid running backs. But I think one of the biggest things that comes down to is protecting Jordan Love. When you watch the Cardinals game, in my opinion, that was the best they've protected Jordan Love all year. Now, it's a completely different story against the Houston Texans, who have the highest pressure rate. And Jordan Love hasn't been the best this year against pressure. He's getting better. We saw it last week with that touchdown pass to Romeo Doubs, which is just wild. And then also the running the football. Going into that Cardinals game, hey, we need to run the football. They can't stop the run, and we still didn't run the ball as much as I thought we would. Houston's good at stopping the run, 3.8 yards per carry. So it's going to be a great matchup. Containing CJ Stroud, they don't have Nico Collins, which is massive, but they still have Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs. Those guys are weapons. They've Dalton Schultz at tight end. We can't really cover tight end, so we got to hopefully contain him a little bit. And then the injury front, you guys mentioned it. Larry Tunsil, if he can't play, that's massive. Henry 2020, I don't know if I butchered that name or not, but he's one of their starting linebackers with Azeez Al-Shaair, who is also injured. That could be their two starting linebackers out of this game. If that's the case, expect the run game to look a lot better. Azeez Al-Shaair has been a tackle machine for them. I think it's going to be a very close one, like you guys are saying as well. And I hope this isn't a jinx, and I hope I'm just predicting something crazy and great. But I want a Brandon McManus game-winning field goal, 31-28, Green Bay. I definitely just cursed him. And
You're on TD.
Oh man, Dion, you okay?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It just feels dangerous. I feel like Bass is playing with fire.
I don't care. At this rate, something's got to give with the kicker, so I'm just going to be like, yeah, that guy's hitting a 65-yarder for the win. Like, we know he is. Come on.
Oh, my gosh. Well, time always tells. I can't wait to see that game as well. But then the big matchup of the weekend, we have the Minnesota Vikings versus the Detroit Lions, ladies and gentlemen. And this is in Minnesota, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Ooh, man, on the road for the Lions. Let's go ahead and break it down. Let's start with Nick. What do you have on this in your score prediction?
In Minnesota, after coming off a huge win against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas, back-to-back challenges for the Detroit Lions. But Dan Campbell, man, he can coach anywhere. He can make anything happen. This is going to be the true matchup for the Minnesota Vikings. This could be something that we see in the playoffs later this year, and I'm excited to see how these two shake it out. I think it's going to be an absolute shooting match. It's going to come down to the wire, and I think it's going to go into overtime, TD. I think that this is going to be one of the best games of the year so far. You know, you have Minnesota, who's red hot, coming off a bye. You have Detroit, that's also red hot, coming off a huge win. And these two tough defenses, two high-scoring offenses. We're going to find out who the best quarterback in this division is potentially today on this upcoming Sunday in Minnesota. I mean, it's tough, TD. Like, these teams are so evenly matched right now based off how this season has gone so far. You know, Detroit's secondary is going to have their hands full with Jefferson and Addison. Then you're going to have Minnesota's going to have their hands full too with that entire offense, especially David Montgomery, who's just been running over everybody. I am looking at this game going, okay, this is an overtime game for sure. We're going to see some movement, though, in our balances of where everyone is. So I think that Detroit's going to win this game in Minnesota. It's going to be a close one. It's going to come down to the wire, but it's going to be high scoring. I got this one 42-38.
Damn.
Detroit Lions.
Damn.
That's a lot of points, man.
Bet the over.
42 on Brian Flores. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't know. Yeah. So like I said, I was looking up the moons, and I was thinking if it was the case and it was a waxing gibbous, I'm taking Minnesota, but it's not. It's a waning gibbous. So it's gonna be a waning, whatever game for Detroit. I do have Detroit winning this game. I'm a little bit worried about the Minnesota Vikings without Aaron Jones. We saw it in that Jets game. And I think Ty Chandler is a good running back. They brought in Cam Akers, whatever. They saw a little bit of a recipe to maybe stop the Vikings and Sam Darnold, what the Jets did. And I think the Lions can try to replicate that. Both teams are really hot. I would argue the Lions hotter right now, obviously not having a bye week and doing what they just did to Dallas. But the one thing is that I'm worried of picking Detroit here is Minnesota versus quarterbacks have only allowed a 70.3 quarterback rating. They have 11 interceptions, which is first. They've only allowed a 65 rating to wide receivers, but I think that doesn't matter if the Lions play to their strengths and run the football like they have been. That's why the last few weeks have been playing so well, in my opinion. So if they continue to run with Montgomery and Gibbs, and saying that, the Minnesota run defense also great, only allowed 3.7 yards per carry so far this year. But I think the Lions can get that up. I think the Lions can still run the football against them. And as long as you keep Goff from turning over the football, which they've been doing very well, I think I favor the Lions here. So I'm going Detroit 24-20.
Detroit 24-20. Oh, we got two Detroits, man. So let's go with Detroit.
Dion's
let's go to Dion here, since he's the underdog, at least in the division wise. Talk to us, Dion. How did you see your team faring in this one?
Yeah, TD, I like being the underdog, man. So shout out to BetUS. I like that we're coming in as not the favorite in this game. Like it kind of feels like good a little bit. Like, okay, they're not like on the Lions -6 or something crazy. But that being said, I don't want to spoil the Lions' plans, but I'm going to tell you guys what I'm going to expect right away from this game. I think that the Lions, whether they receive or kick off, I think they're probably going to end up kicking off first here. I think that we're going to see the Detroit Lions in this game at some point do something that we usually see the Lions do, which is we saw last year against Green Bay, though it didn't work, a fake punt. Right, I think we're going to see something very early in this game, like on special teams, that the Lions try to shake this immediately and flip the script. So if they get the ball first and they don't score a touchdown, I think they're going to want to receive again, because we know the stat about Minnesota. They play with a lead every week. The Lions don't want to do that. They don't want to play from behind against Flores. So I think if they get the ball first, they'll be happy. But if they get stopped at any time that possession, you're going to see a fake punt, right? You're going to see the Lions do something to try to change the balance immediately in this game. You're going to see a trick play early in this game on special teams. That's my assumption. That being said, though, look, man, the thing is, and this is the tough part, Minnesota got a lot better personnel-wise. I think not having Cashman would be massive. They've got a lot better personnel-wise, but last year, Ben Johnson against Brian Flores was a massive concern for me. I was like, how is this going to work? Because last time Jared Goff played this guy, it was a disaster. Now, again, the personnel's better this season, but they played him last time twice, a couple times close together, and from an offensive perspective alone, the plan that Ben Johnson had for Jared Goff against a guy that's incredibly aggressive was excellent. I thought he played two of his best games of the season against Brian Flores, and that was kind of like okay, Ben Johnson, you're really helping Jared Goff a lot here, and that's how we know you're that dude. And I think that's massive heading into this game, because you see this defense, and they're so tricky, right? They're like overlapping their zones, and they have all this movement, they're showing all these cover zero looks, and they're dropping out of it. But I just think that Ben Johnson has had a way to simplify that for Goff and make it easier for Goff. I'm sure we'll see Flores try to tweak some things, but I just don't think it'll be enough. I think Ben Johnson's going to come in with a really good plan once again. My biggest concern is honestly how well we're going to run the football. As well as we ran the ball, the weird fronts that Minnesota uses, I don't know how well we're going to actually run the ball. So I think this is going to be a lot about Jared Goff throwing the football. I think he's going to throw the ball well, and I think defensively, Carlton Davis is going to shut that man down, Justin Jefferson. All right, hey, one more ain't going to say it. He's going to say the exact opposite, but I'm telling y'all, we'll come back next week. Carlton, if he's playing, is going to shut that man down. You're going to be like, hey, yo, Carlton was crazy last week. Hold up, MVP vote? Maybe not that far. Maybe not that far. But we're going to be hyped. We're going to say, hey, Carlton Davis is a problem. I think that he set himself up last week, and that's the piece we haven't had, is that guy that can battle. It doesn't mean it's got to be perfect, but he can battle. We haven't had a battle piece. We got one, and Carlton Davis is going to win this matchup.
Wow. What's the
I didn't
score
even think
again?
Going to win. I'm sorry. The Lions are going to win this game. I was getting hyped. Hold up. I'm going to go Lions, and then, man, what do I want? I think I'll go 28-17. I'll take the Lions.
Ooh,
Damn.
Man, one bar.
Hey, you know what? I'm used to everybody picking against the Vikings. If we look back at every prediction show, like, you know, aside from the Giants week 1, nobody has really been picking the Vikings, and that's fine. Let's go. I'm all for it. I'm on board. There's no way to sugarcoat this. This is going to be a fantastic game. It's not like, the Lions, Dion, as much as you don't want to admit it, you don't seem concerned, but deep down, you know, the Vikings are legit. You know, that defense is legit. If this game was played 10 times, one team wins 6 times. Like it's going to be very, very close, and I can't wait. I'm excited. Some of the stuff, Dion, that you said, just validating what I'm thinking is giving me anxiety. I hate playing the Lions. Anytime it's 4th and 13, back of my head, I'm still thinking they're going to fake punt it and they're going to get it. Whatever. Like, they're going to go for it on 4th and 7 and stuff like that. That, again, it makes the Lions great, or can make Brian Flores' defense look great. So the Lions is just tricky as hell every time you play these guys, but they're legit. This is one of the best teams in the NFC. The Vikings have proven they are one of the best teams in the NFC. It's going to be a fantastic game. Everybody already said it to me. In my mind, there's a couple of things that stand out. Like, Cashman's not playing, huge blow to the Vikings. Aaron Jones, if he isn't playing, that is going to be massive. We saw what Ty Chandler, he's the home run type running back. If he doesn't get touched, he's fast. He can take it to the house. He gets touched, the dude's down. He's not a pound. He's not going to pound that thing all week. So that's why Cam Akers could be in the mix. So the running game is going to be huge for both sides of things. We have to get the running game going for Sam Darnold to do something. Like, looking at this game, I see Sam Darnold doing his kind of standard 220, maybe a couple of touchdowns. Will that be enough? We will see. But the big thing comes down to the Vikings stopping the Detroit Lions run game, and we have done a very good job at it. The Vikings have done a very good job against the run, but this is a different beast. Like, this is where they can put up or shut up and just show, like, we are legit and we can shut down the run. If they start getting the run going and they get up early, it's going to be a little bit concerning. Vikings, one of the big things is we haven't been down. The Vikings have not been down this year, and it's going to be eye-opening this week if we get down to see how they come back from that, because this is new territory. I'm not saying I don't have confidence that they can do it. It's just something they haven't had to deal with. So Brian Flores said it best. Somebody asked him in a press conference, said, how are you going to deal with Ben Johnson's mind? How are you going to deal with that offense? And he said, I'm going to fight fire with fire. And it was the most badass thing you see. The dude just oozes badassness. And it was true. He's going to fight fire with fire. Like, his defense is legit. He's going to be bringing you looks where Jared Goff is going to be confused. And we got to put Jared Goff on his butt early, not just pressures. Put the man on his butt and get him rattled, because it's going to come down to the defense for me. Sam Darnold needs to bounce back off that Jets game, but it's all about the defense. Blake Cashman, it's going to be hurt. And I got to mention the Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson's going to get his. I don't care who you got on him. I don't care if that cornerback has 5 arms and 17 legs. Like, Jefferson has owned the Lions. Go look at it, and he's going to do it again. And also, Jordan Addison is going to be a sneaky play on this week, because I think he ends up actually having better numbers than Jefferson. And there's going to be some scores. There's going to be some scores in this game, even with the Flores defense. I'm not going as crazy as Nick, but I'm going like 27-24, and the Vikings are going to win this thing at home, regardless if Jones plays or not.
Man,
Dion looks perplexed.
Just a question. I mean, just based on what you said, I think you said Darnold, you're thinking somewhere around 220 passing yards, but then you're telling us Addison is going to be the guy. So what is Justin Jefferson going to do then? Maybe an 80?
All right, so let's say Addison goes for $110, Jefferson for 108, and Ty Chandler gets 1 catch for 2 yards.
Okay.
There's your math.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
I'll say this: Sam Darnold, like, in a perfect world, does the 220 and 2 scores unless the defense do the job. If Sam Darnold's throwing for over 300, we're in trouble.
Interesting, man. I just think this is going to be a great game. I can't wait to watch it. Oh, man. This is football in the NFL in 2024, ladies and gentlemen. And I told you this would be one of the best football seasons of all time, and it has not disappointed so far. Well, there you have it, the NFC North Roundtable predictions. The Bears are on a bye. We'll see them next week. Outside of that, don't forget, BetUS is the official sponsor of Roundtable Sports in the NFC North Roundtable. Take advantage of that 150% sign-up bonus up to $2,000. The code is YouTube150. Don't forget, thank you all for tuning in. Love you all. Appreciate you all. We'll see you next time right here on the NFC North Roundtable. Peace. We are out.